God's going to stretch us like crazy this year. Some wild things that you never thought were going to happen are going to happen this year. So some of you are watching, you think you know what's going to happen, but when it happens, I want you to be ready and not judge it right away or be shocked. Like we're seeing some really weird stuff, like bald people getting hair on their heads right now. I mean, if that shocks you, more stuff's going to happen. You know, there was a time in France where this one guy, his head was chopped off. His name was Saint Denis. And the story goes that he picked up his head and walked back, I don't know how far, to the place where he was executed. And then he dropped, you know. So that's pretty wild stuff. So I think we haven't seen anything yet. And that happened in history. It was written down. And you can visit this little statue where he's holding his head in his hand. So just God's going to do some really wild stuff this year. And I think we're going to grow in the supernatural. Creative miracles are going to start happening. And we're starting to see it, but I think there's a lot more. Like body parts being recreated, toes being recreated, brains of some people that need brains being recreated. So I see this year a lot of creative miracles, signs and wonders. And we're starting to see the new age, the psychics, the mediums hungry because of this new level of the creative miracles. We had a guy we're running a studio from, and he's just hearing about our testimonies and hungry, and he's just so close. He's asking about Jesus. Is he the only way? And why do I feel so good around you guys? And another new age chiropractor, you know, I asked if I could pray for him, and his legs grew out, and he started shaking and felt the power, and he said, what is this? This is awesome. And so these kind of things I see this year. There's going to be an attack on the psychic, on the demonic, on the satanist, on the new age. All those in that realm, they're going to be confronted this year with the power, with signs and wonders following. So it's going to be awesome. So if you're watching and you're just a Christian going, well, what do I do? Ask God, Lord, put me in that realm. Stretch me so I can be used in that way. Take away my limited thinking, my small thinking, my fear of being deceived, and just open up my heart, Lord, that I can receive all that you have so I can be used to win those people for you. And I see a revival going to hit the West, especially the Rocky Mountain chain, Arizona, up to Colorado, Montana, Vancouver, that whole western front. I see God's going to invade that area with the supernatural revivals coming to that area specifically, and those in that. There's also an acceleration this year coming. Some of you've been praying for years for something to happen. In 1 year's time, you'll see more happen than you saw in 20 years. For a lot of you that have been faithful and been pressing in, there's an acceleration. Just something's happening. God's pushed the accelerator. So some of you you better get ready. And if you don't get ready, you're going to be, it's going to be hard. It's like a wave. When a wave comes when you surf, I used to surf. If you don't swim towards the wave and start getting some acceleration on your board, when that thing comes, it'll break your board or you'll ride the wave. So there's a wave coming, but you have to ride that wave. How many want to ride the wave? I know you're sitting there going, I want to ride that wave. And you are going to ride the wave if you're really hungry for God. This year, there's also a lot of shaking going on and harvest. And the Lord told me that this was a year of harvest/judgment. Both simultaneously will start taking place where whole cities will be saved. Whole cities will have a revival. And other cities might be shaken by the power of God. But even in judgment times, it's a good time for you. If you go to court and you've been waiting for the thief to repay back 7 times, and finally it's the judgment day, it's the final verdict's released, and the judge looks at you and says, the judgment over you is innocent with recompense. So judgment is good for you on those days. Israel was happy that they got out of Egypt. On Judgment Day, they got 500 years worth of slavery paid in one day. So judgment doesn't have to be scary. Times of judgment are also times of recompense. Basically, whatever is coming to you is going to come. So make sure it's something good. Make sure you're on the right side with God, and that's where holiness is coming in, where we want to really make sure we're walking in holiness with God, purity, integrity, so that we're reaping basically the good things and not the negative stuff. But it's a season of harvest, shakings. Everything is going faster because of the glory. The glory realm is increasing. So when the glory is there, everything just accelerates quicker. So like, for instance, if you're sick in your body and you walk into a heavier glory, boom, you're healed. If, Ananias and Sapphira, they were messing around and they just, they got electrocuted by the glory, basically. How come in Acts 2 it wasn't like that? Acts 2 was the beginning, but Acts 4, that glory just kept getting stronger and stronger. So things were reaped quicker, whether it was sin or harvest or miracles or finances, whatever it is, everything's going to reap faster. So if you wanted to backslide, for instance, you're watching, you're thinking of backsliding, it's too late now. You can't do it. You should have done it last year. Too late now. Now we're in a season where you can't. You just got to keep going for God and press